Good afternoon, dear students. It's me, Malohat, again with you. Dear students, today at our lesson, we will talk about modals of obligation, permission, ability, advice, criticism, and prohibition. And also, we will talk about the modal verbs category. It is their functions and their equivalents, and also their placement in a sentence. What are modal verbs? They are can, could, may, might, must, shall, should, will, would, and ought to also one of the equivalent of a modal verb. So they are auxiliary verbs that provide additional and specific meaning to the main verb of the sentence. Modal verbs are sometimes referred to as modal auxiliary verbs because they help other verbs. So how do we use modal verbs? First, in a sentence, if we talk about the word order, in a sentence with the modals, first we use subject, then modal verb, and the main verb. It is the modal verb should be placed between the subject and the main verb. So when we use the modal verb, the main verb should be used without any particle. To. So for example, I can speak English. Yeah, I can speak English. Here we have omitted the particle to before the main verb speak. So for example, Mary could play the piano. Mary could play the piano. Here, Mary is the subject of the sentence, and play is the predicate of it. It is main verb here, and could here between the subject and the main verb. We have placed. So they do not accept conjugation. They do not need any auxiliary verbs. If we speak about the form of it, there is no any s in singular. There is no do-does in the questions when we use modals, and there is no don't or doesn't in the negative. For example, he can ski. He can ski. This is an affirmative sentence, as you can see, as we have just mentioned above. Here we have placed the modal verb can between the subject and the main verb. So we never say he can ski or he can skis. So that is why we have just mentioned that there is no any suffix s in singular. So would you like to come with me? Would you like to come with me? Here in an interrogative sentence, we put the modal verb. It is in front of the subject. Do you? We never say, "Do you would like to come with me?" So they can't be serious. They can't be serious. This is a correct form, and we never say they can be serious. It's incorrect. So that is why we don't need any do-does or any don't, doesn't in a sentence where we use the modal verb. To form a question, putting the modal verb in front of the subject is enough for us to make questions. And to make negative sentences, putting the negative particle not after the modal verb is enough for us. So that is why we don't need any don't or doesn't to form a negative sentence. And we will continue talking about the form. Modal verbs do not have infinitives or ing form. For example, we never say to can or canning or to must or musting. So modal verbs are followed by an infinitive without the particle to, as I have just mentioned. She must study, for example. She must study. We should have gone to the other day. We should have gone the other day. Sorry, we should have gone the other day. Or he could play piano in his youth. This is a general ability. He could play the piano in his youth. It is in his childhood, maybe. Yeah? So modal verbs do not have all the tenses. Modal verbs use other verbs to complete tenses. Can is completed with be able to. For example, in such kind of cases, we usually use the equivalence of the modal verbs. For example, to be able to is one of them. Must is completed with have to. What do they express? It is, what do modal verbs express? Why do we use them in a sentence? Isn't it possible to express the meaning of our idea without the modal verbs? Now we will look through together with you. They can have more than one meaning, depending on the situation. To understand it better, we are going to divide them into three categories. The first category is a single concept modal. They have one meaning. Double concept modal, they have two meanings. And the modals in the past, they have used to express situation in the past. Categories. Single concept modals, they are will, might, should, ought to, and had better. The next one is double concept modals. They are may, must, would, shall, could, and can. And the modals in the past, they are would have, could have, might have, should have, may have, and must have. If we talk about the single concept modals, modal, for example, here, will and might and should and ought to and had better. Concept, future. That is, we take will is modal and the concept is future. And example for this is Joe will travel to New York next week. Joe will travel to New York next week. Might is a modal and the concept is small probability here. And the example here, I might move to Canada someday. I might move to Canada someday. And the next modal is should, and the concept is recommendation here. And the example is you should go to the doctor. You should go to the doctor. So, if my friend has got a headache or has got a toothache, for example, toothache, I may say to my friend, you should go to the doctor. Here I am using the modal of advice here. Recommendation, just recommendation. Ought to, formal recommendation. We ought to know about his aids. We ought to know about first aids. First aids. Each one of us ought to know about the first aids. Had better, and the concept of it is warning. Warning, and I had better study or I will fail the test. Double concept modal. The first one is may, and the concept is permission, and the example is may I come in? May I use your dictionary for a while? The next one is again may, and here the concept is good probability. So we may visit Mexico this summer. We may visit Mexico this summer. The next modal is must. The first meaning is responsibility. Everyone must pay taxes. The next one is again must. The second meaning here is assumption. And example is she didn't arrive. She must be sick. She must be sick. She didn't arrive. She must be sick. It is here we use the assumption meaning here. And the next modal is would, and its first meaning here, first concept, past tense. That's used to. For example, when I was young, I would play soccer. I would play soccer. Its meaning is I used to play soccer. Instead of used to, we use here would. I would play soccer. And the next one is would again, and the second concept here, present unreal. I would buy the car, but I can't afford it. I would buy the car, but I can't afford it. In unreal condition, we use it usually. And the double concept modals we will continue talking about. The next one is shall, and the concept here is educated expression. Offer. Excuse me, I shall go now. I shall go now. Shall I clean it? The next one is shall again, and the concept here is contractual obligation. And the company shall pay on January 1st. Contractual obligation is expressed here in this meaning. The company shall pay on January 1st. There is a contraction here. The next one is could, and unreliability is expressed here. I could go if I had time. I could go if I had time. But unfortunately, I don't have any time. Just I'm expressing here, the speaker is expressing here unreliability with the help of could here in this example. And the next one is could, the second meaning, and its second meaning, possibility is expressed here with this meaning. I could go if I the next one. She could play the piano, not anymore. She could play the piano, not anymore. Can. The first meaning is presentability. We can speak English or we can speak Spanish. And the second meaning of can here is permission. Can I have a sweet? Can I have a sweet? Or can I have some of these apples? And etc. So modals in the past. They are modals referred to actions that happened in the past. For example, modal plus have plus verb in the past in past participle or participle too. For example, it must have been a difficult decision, or they should have invited you to their wedding. Modals of ability. Let's talk about, dear students. The first one here, can. Because we usually express our ability with the help of the modal verb can. For example, I can translate these texts from English into Russian, or I can play the piano. As you can see, I'm expressing my ability with the help of this modal verb. So it expresses ability in the present or generally. I can run a kilometer in 4 minutes. It is used for decisions made about future ability. We can meet at the gym tomorrow. The next modal of ability is could, expresses ability in the past. In sentences, if only it expresses ability in the present, future, and in general, hypothetical situations. If only you could come. If only you could come. Could have plus past participle. Expresses ability in past hypothetical situations. I could have roasted the turkey. I could have roasted the turkey. For other tenses, be able to plus infinitive is usually used to express this meaning. Modals of permission. May, the first one is more polite than could. May go out, for example, or could, the second one, more polite than can. Can here this can and the could also is used to express permission here. Could you repeat please? Could you repeat please? In this meaning, could and both could and can also is used. Only could is more polite than can in this meaning. Can, informal use. Can I go to the toilet? Can I go to the toilet, or can I take your dictionary, or can I borrow your bike for a while please, and etc. These modal verbs express giving permission now or for the future. For the past, we have could or be allowed to.